these are big players in the Eredivisie, and we've just rocked up and bounced them 4-1. The goal, like if that's what you got to do to score against Villa this season, then I'll take that. If it takes a player running into the ball, chesting it down, and half volley it in from an acute angle into the bottom right corner, if that's what the lengths that you've got to go to get a goal past Villa these days, so be it.
Hello and welcome back to the Villa Filler podcast. I'm here as always, my good friend Dan Wiseman. Dan, AZ Alkmaar 1, Aston Villa 4. What a performance.
Let's go. For the first time, I feel like I can confidently say that we look like potential winners in the UEFA Europa Conference League. We've not really had any kind of feeling around that really in our two games prior to this. Definitely not in the loss against Legia Warsaw. But tonight, that certainly changed, mate.
Mate, it did. What I think as well, we start with the lineup. That was the big thing that we basically said really is, is providing we start strong, there's no reason why we can't win this game. And, obviously highlighting how good AZ have actually been since the season started, really, especially in this competition. But, I mean, we've ended what is, I believe, I think they were like, I'm trying to find the stats now because that's just slipped away from me. I had it on my phone, but it's just my phone isn't phoning right now. Here we go. So Alkmaar haven't lost a single home game all season. They're undefeated in the league, and then on come Aston Villa, big 4-1 win. And let's go going back to my point about the lineup, mate. And it's only fair that we give Youri Tielemans the credit that he absolutely deserves. And I think we found his position, and it is quite clearly further up the field. It's not in that double pivot. And listen, this isn't to say that it was without flaws. There was a couple of times where he was dispossessed, perhaps far too easily, in situations where Douglas and Booba wouldn't have given the ball away, but he was playing further up the pitch, so it didn't matter as much until, a little bit later on in the game. He managed 85% pass accuracy, 64 touches, made 3 crosses, 2 long balls, created 1 big chance, won 5 of his 7 ground duels. He was brilliant. Obviously, gets his goal as well. Like, this feels like the Youri Tielemans that we signed, mate. Like, he's in action. He's ready to go.
Yeah, man. Yes. Flowers to you, Youri. You've earned them. I thought he was spectacular tonight. Spectacular. I think you made a very good point there, mate, about playing him a little bit higher up. And there's a vacancy in the squad as well. That's what's brilliant about this performance and seeing him play there is because the one thing that maybe we're without in this squad is a true kind of number 10. I think the closest thing you've probably got is maybe someone like Emi Buendia, but we've seen him play so much from wide positions. He's not like an authentic number 10. There's a bit of a vacancy there, and whilst I'll caveat that with maybe Unai's system doesn't necessarily have a spot for that kind of player, tonight's performance just goes to show that when you've got players that can play as well, and we knew he was talented, we knew he's a good player. That's why it's kind of been so confusing, is because this is a player that's come in with a massive reputation, that's got the wages to go along with it, and the performances just haven't quite been there. It's been a bumpy ride. We had the whole thing, the saga that went on over the international break, and whether he did or did not kind of throw his toys out the pram. It looks like he did, and Tommy Jordan pretty much put that one to bed. But for him to come out there tonight and drop that kind of performance was really, really encouraging. I was massively pleased for him because he takes that second goal really well. And obviously we'll go back to the first one in a second, but whilst we're on Youri, it makes sense to talk about it. The ball from McGinn is magnificent. And the only thing better than the finish is his touch, where it kind of gets caught up in his feet, and then he uses his left foot to kind of drag it back onto his right before putting it through the keeper's legs. It is magnificent. And he's such a great goal-scoring midfielder. We know he loves a goal from range, but it's those tidy finishes in and around the 6-yard box that he's clearly got in his locker too. And just getting off the mark is going to be a massive deal for him. And I dare say we see a completely different Youri Tielemans from here on out.
Absolutely. He needed that. That's the monkey off his back. He can sort of relax. Obviously, again, there's a few people who mentioned in the comments that, let's not sort of act as if the points have already been given to us, given our next little run in the Premier League, of course. But you would imagine that there's minutes available for Yuri in these games, which will allow him to build upon the performance that he had today. And I feel like everyone was really good. And again, like this is another great performance from Leon Bailey as well. I thought he ran the channels really well. It's a brilliant goal that he scores. Quite clearly, he chested the ball as well. I don't know why it took so long with that sort of handball shout and all that kind of stuff. And again, like, I think like it's important to sort of probably caveat it with Leon. He quite clearly is a talented player. We know that. You guys know that we love Leon as well. It hasn't quite worked out. It's been patchy. Form has been up and down. There has been injuries. There are many reasons as to why that is. But the Conference League is undeniably a level where Leon Bailey can and will and has thrived for Aston Villa. That's now 3 goals that he scored in the Conference League. There's a short that is being picked up quite a bit now, just due to Leon being back in the goals and stuff like that. I think we titled it "What's Wrong with Leon Bailey," and plenty of people in the comments are sharing the same sentiment. Really, like, he is talented, he's frustrating, but it's performances and nights like these which kind of remind you why we signed him and the kind of player that he is. And it's it's a fantastic goal, mate. To strike it as cleanly as he did, absolutely great. And I think it's quite clear as well. Leon is quite. I think he, if you asked him, he'd probably say he'd like to be starting more games. But certainly in all the content that you see, certainly in what I've been seeing on the pitch at Villa Park, he's just absolutely buzzing to be a part of Aston Villa at the moment, really. And his contributions have become somewhat meaningful as well, helping us win games, extend leads, obviously gives us the lead in this game as well. It feels like we've maybe, with the Conference League and with, just like the game plans in general that Unai has, that, we're sort of carving out quite a clear role for what Leon Bailey, can contribute to this squad. Come on with tired legs, run at them with pace, use your skill. We know you can score. That's never been in doubt, really, mate. He's always scored good goals for Aston Villa. So I'm really happy for him on a personal note.
Yeah, man. What made me laugh is we got the full Leon Bailey experience with that first goal, because 2 minutes before he went through on goal in a 1-on-1 and somehow managed to backheel it out for a throw-in. I've never seen anybody mess up a 1-on-1 chance as almost hilariously as he did. Like, he runs through on goal, that he allows the defender to kind of catch up with him, which is kind of an error, and then he gets all up in about, not just 2 minds, about 6, kind of runs out towards the corner flag, tries to backheel it out for Luke Dean, and it just goes out for a throw-in. And it is from that throw-in that Ollie wins the ball back really well. It kind of comes out on the edge of the box to Leon Bailey, and somehow, despite the touch that he takes, it's going back out for a throw-in on the other side. He manages to swivel his body around and drive this finish down hard to the goalkeeper's right, and you're just kind of like, that's the Leon Bailey kind of in a nutshell. And he's almost a player that when he is being instinctive and he's forced to think quickly, you see his quick feet come to life. And you kind of saw that with the West Ham goal, in that he kind of runs into the box, he's travelling at such a speed, and all of a sudden he's able to slow himself down, quickly drop a shoulder and bend it into the top corner. He's definitely one of those players that can get up in his own head when he has too much time to think about something. And he didn't with that second goal, and it just goes to show the talent that he has. But it did make me laugh. But yeah, I think you're kind of starting to see a bit, there are certain coaches, Serena Wiegmann's one, and she does it really well with the Lionesses, that kind of don't view it as like started players and benched players. It's more like starters and finishers, and that those that are come on to kill the game, to put the icing on the cake, is just as important as the ones that start the game. It's like, okay, your job is to get us rolling, your job is to come on and kill the opposition. And she's got kind of set substitutions that happen throughout a game, and players really kind of buy into those roles. And it's kind of something that started with Eddie Jones at England Rugby, but I think you're starting to see that with Unai's kind of squad, in that even the lads on the bench are always coming on looking to make an impact. I mean, Leon Bailey's goal return, by minutes this season, is exceptional. I think in the league, I don't know about all competitions, he's averaging a goal about every 75 minutes. It's crazy because he keeps coming off the bench and has got such a point to play, and he's low-key having a really good season. So yeah, props to you, Leon.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned Ollie winning the ball back there in that build-up, because I just felt like the structure today, like, oh man, it hit different. It just hit different. We were so quite clearly organised. We stuck to the game plan. And players like Ollie, we know, he's in fantastic form. Obviously, he gets himself a goal as well, which, makes it even sweeter. Like, again, like, it comes down to like having clearly defined roles. And Ollie Watkins, since he's been given that instruction, and it's less of a, you can go wide sometimes and, sort of hold the ball up and do this and that. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. And, I think as well, like, he's maturing so much as a player. I think in the build-up to that goal, obviously Leon gets the ball, bit of skill, comes inside, takes the shot. It's saved by Matt Ryan. But you could see as soon as Leon switched it to his right foot, Ollie powered forward, because he knew that there would be an opportunity for a potential follow-up or rebound. Obviously, he gets that, and he, sort of earns the reward. And it's not, the best goal that Ollie Watkins has ever scored by any means, but they all count. And as I say, it was that intelligence and that maturity that he's really starting to show. Like, Ollie Watkins at the moment is one of, if not the best strikers in Europe right now. That's a totally cold take. That is a totally cold take. The numbers back it up. I can see the guys in the TikTok comments are losing their minds. Obviously, there's Haaland and Mbappe. Ollie Watkins right now is firmly touching shoulders with them guys. That is facts.
14 goal contributions in 15 games says it all. He's on the score sheet once again. 9 goals in those 15 games. He's just on fire. When you consider that we tied him down to a new contract just 2 weeks ago, that looks like a better and better decision by the day. He is a man that has come in, and it's so different. I was kind of thinking about it back to our last European away day when John Duran scored against Legia Warsaw, and there was genuine debate starting to form about, right, who's starting now? Who are we playing as number 9? Is it John Duran? Is it Ollie Watkins? It was like John Duran is scoring more goals than Ollie was, and then all of a sudden Ollie hits the back of the net and boom, he's away. And every time Ollie kind of goes on one of these runs, the quality of his play just gets better and better and better. And what Unai has been able to do with this guy is just remarkable. He's playing so well. And when you consider that, he's coming off a goal and an assist against West Ham, there was a goal as well over the international break with England, an assist before that with Wolves. Okay, he didn't get on the score sheet against Zrinski, but the game before that against Brighton, there was a hat-trick and an assist. The form right now is just remarkable. And as you rightly point out, mate, when you look at our next 4 games, thrown into the mix is Alkmaar again in the home leg, and we're playing Luton, Nottingham Forest and Fulham. Those are teams that are, like, by no means am I going to go say Villa go marching through there and get 9 points. Like, we have to make sure we take each game at a time. Each game is going to be difficult in its own right, but those are definitely games where Ollie can continue to rack up his goal tally for the season. And if he does, mate, he could be in for a really, really special season. And we know Ollie blows a little hot and cold, and that he's not going to keep this up for the entirety of the season. But his base level now just comes on and comes on and comes on and gets better and better and better. And it's just amazing to watch.
Mate, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And I mean, you can say the same about John McGinn, really, can't you? I mean, it's the sort of perseverance again that sort of comes into play. I'm just watching the goal back right now. It's a great ball in from was it Leon? I think it's Leon. Or maybe
yep.
Leon. Diaby was on the pitch at the moment. It's a brilliant ball in from him. Again, big ups to Leon there. And Guinea just sort of guides it in, and that's the sort of, I don't think we've seen a finish like that from McGinn, probably since the Championship, really, since that sort of late run into the box. He's peeled off on the front post, and he does enough, gets a flick on, directs it in. And again, I'm happy for him as well, because I think, there was a lot of chat, I think, especially when sort of Gerrard came in as well. Gerrard said the same thing as Unai, really, didn't he? I can't believe I'm mentioning Steven Gerrard on a Villa podcast again, but he said he wanted McGinn to add more goals to his game. He wanted him to become more of a complete midfielder. And I mean, it's Unai that's actually been able to take him to that next level, which is quite ironic. But that was a great goal for him as well. And he's just somebody who I think, he could play 90 minutes like 5 times a week, and you would still get the absolute same. There's no drop in quality. There's no drop in effort, desire. And I think that goal probably perfectly summarises just how John McGinn is as a player. And very happy for him, mate. Very happy for him. I know we conceded a goal, Ibrahim Sadiq. It was actually a very good goal, to be fair.
Yeah,
we have to give them the credit there. Like, comfortably beat Emmy. But I want to give the centre halves another shout out, mate. Diego Carlos, Clement Longley. I know we didn't actually speak about the Legia Warsaw game together because I was there, you was away, all that kind of thing. I feel like when I was sort of checking Twitter after the game, everybody who wasn't there was just going, Clement Longley, he's shit, he's this, he's that, he's blah, blah, blah. Not a single person that I spoke to in that stadium had a bad word to say about Clement Longley. And that's not to say that he was a world beater, because he wasn't, but he looked pretty solid. And again, you know, this is another 90 minutes of Clement Longley that we've seen in action. Looks very, very assured.
Mate, well, we've been saying the whole time. He's been saying the whole time, this guy, where we haven't plucked him out of none. Like, this guy's just come from Barcelona. Like, and even off that, he's just come off the back of a season at Spurs under Antonio Conte. And look, Antonio Conte's Spurs career doesn't exactly look greatly in the broad daylight now, but there's one thing Antonio Conte knows, that's centre halves. And for him to kind of go and pluck that guy, it says a lot. He's a great player, of course he is. But can I just, whilst you're talking about the topic of John McGinn, I saw McGinn score that goal, and can we just pour one out for Tyrone Mings?
Yeah,
we just kind of take a moment, man, because McGinn and Tyrone, I believe, the only players that have kind of come on this complete journey from the Championship to European football. And the fact that if we do go deep into this competition and we can get Tyrone, even like in the ground, in the matchday squad, wherever it might be, for like those games towards the crescendo, it would just be amazing, because the fact, like, how much he's put into this game, and I don't think anyone at Villa has gone on a personal journey over that period quite like Tyrone Mings. The ups and the downs and everything in between, the kind of reputation he's so wrongfully built against opposition fans, the crap that he gets at away grounds. The thought of him like having to watch this on his TV at home with the rest of us does hurt me a little. But yeah, Diego, I kind of said it today. I was like, isn't it crazy that these two are our backup centre halves? And when Tyrone's in the mix, maybe one of them's like the backup. It's like, this centre half pairing is better than most main centre half pairings in the Premier League, and they don't get a sniff most games. It's crazy. Like, you're looking at Diego Carlos, like ex-Sevilla, ex-Europa League winner, full-time. I don't know if you saw that picture over the international break of him on his holidays in Greece, stood there like the Titan of Bravos from Game of Thrones, like this absolute unit of a man. And it's like, look at this guy. It's crazy what we have. The depth in this squad. All of a sudden, an interesting point I want to hear from you. It's gone from having, when the window closed, it was like, ooh, we're a bit short of squad depth. And now, all of a sudden, it's like, we've done this. Look at the players that we brought in and how well they're doing. You've got Moreno to come back. You've got JJ to come back. You've got Buendia to come back. You've got Mings to come back. It's crazy.
I think you're still only ever one bad injury away from having that sort of squad depth crisis again, aren't you? And that could even be someone on the fringes like Callum Chambers. Callum Chambers gets injured, all of a sudden it suddenly makes rotation a little bit more complicated. But you're right, you know, I mean, Moreno, it'd be great to know what's actually up with Moreno and JJ. See, JJ came back and scored the goal against Brighton and sort of did his, is it like the menstrual ligament or something like that? I'm no expert on the body, so please correct me if I got that wrong in the comments, guys. But yeah, you're right. And the fact that we were able to bring on Diaby, bring on Zaniolo, bring on Dendoncker, a lot less glamorous, but somebody who gets the job done. You'd struggle to find better squad depth from any of the big teams in this competition. You know, we're talking Frankfurt, we're talking Fiorentina, we're talking Besiktas. If they put out their B squad, even Lille, they put out their B squad, I think our B squad would comfortably beat them. And again, that's not even being dramatic. I think that's just facts. The riches of the Premier League wouldn't allow us to lose, surely. But yeah, it's an interesting point. And obviously, I love nothing more than Tyrone to be on this journey with us. He deserves it, absolutely. And it's just like, it's tough when you really think about it. He's not someone I've that's necessarily been in my thoughts recently. You've just put him back in there, mate. But I mean, looking at the group now, it's the games that are live at the moment of recording. Zrinjski and Legia are drawing 1-1, which leaves Alkmaar bottom of the group. And looking at the other results as well, looks like Fiorentina are going to top their group. They're currently winning 3-0. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the team name that they're playing. That is long. Lille, top of their group. Ghent, top of their group. The only surprises maybe Dinamo Zagreb, currently second, but if they get a win in their game, then that puts them top of the group, I believe, depending on goal difference. You've got Frankfurt, they're currently winning 4-0. They're second in their group. Fenerbahce top in their group. That'll obviously be a difficult one should you come up against them, but you know, having Frankfurt currently sat in second, you want that. You want them to face one of the Europa League teams that could potentially drop down should it be a big boy. So it's big that we've won this, mate. You know, we were saying in the preview, and I was saying it for what felt like 89 minutes during the Zrinjski game. We lose this and we're grouped. So it was good that we managed to get that win. We've now beat, you know, what is probably the most talented of opponents, I think is probably the fairest way of putting it, from our group. So we've really sort of laid the gauntlet down now and gone, this group is ours for the taking, really, haven't we?
Yeah, man. Alkmaar were unbeaten in 29 at home before this. 29! And we've just come up and balanced these boys. Like, we were talking in the preview, like, you know, look at what these guys are doing domestically. These are big, big players in the Eredivisie, and we've just rocked up and balanced them 4-1. The goal, like, if that's what you got to do to score against Villa this season, then I'll take that. If it takes a player running into the ball, chesting it down and half volley it in from an acute angle into the bottom right corner, if that's what the lengths that you've got to go to get a goal past Villa these days, so be it. But no, it was massive, massive, massive that we were in this game. If we can go out because across European football, the fixtures next time out are just flipped. It's all the same fixtures, but home and away reversed. So we welcome Alkmaar to Villa Park next. And if we go and get 3 points in that game, then we are in such a strong position. And we're in a position that you and I talked about before we came out into this competition. We both said, get the groups done early. Get it confident. The earlier you can get yourself through to the next round, the better. Because all that rotation, as you get closer to Christmas, you really want to be able to, you know, we've just seen the December fixture list come out and everything like that. That's just around the corner, and you want to make sure that you can go into that as fresh as possible. Ideally, we don't want to be having to start the likes of, you know, they all played 85 minutes as well. Your Watkins, your Louises, your McGinns, like, they all came off quite late. And I don't really think that's considered ideal by anyone, let alone Unai. So the quicker we can get this all said and done, the better. And I've got real confidence based on that performance. If we can replicate that through each game, we'll be absolutely fine.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Taking it one game at a time, as Unai Emery does best. And that is certainly the best way to approach things. Bodo Glimt have beaten Besiktas 1-0. Bloody hell.
That's a big project. I'm a big fan of what they're doing there, man. Fair play to them.
Fair play. Mad respect to Bodo Glimt. But yeah, I think it's great that we've been able to carry what has been a really good sort of couple-week period into this, and hopefully we can do the same on Sunday against Luton. Dan and I will be back tomorrow to discuss that. Don't you guys worry. And again, if you guys are sort of new to the channel, or if you haven't seen our videos recently and you've been a long-time subscriber, it's not that much of a surprise. YouTube's a bit of a shitter recently, but the plan is that full post-match podcasts will go out on the YouTube channel and on Spotify, Apple as normal, and preview content is basically going out in shorter form because YouTube is just trying to be TikTok. And I mean, the shorts will always be there because we do that for TikTok and that kind of thing, but we're going to be taking like excerpts from each podcast and sort of uploading them as their own videos. So Dan and I would really appreciate it if you guys checked out all the videos that come on the channel. It will help us out immensely. Yeah, if you guys are subscribed and you haven't seen our videos lately, let us know, comment, maybe hit the notification bell as well. That way you shouldn't miss an upload from Dan and I. There's so many games coming, which means there's going to be so much content for you guys. We're also on TikTok and Instagram. Instagram is at Heart the Holt, And
TikTok, we're like
Sorry, TikTok.
102 followers away from 4,000. So one big push, if we can get there before Christmas, massive.
That would be great. That would be amazing. So yeah, the TikTok is at Heart of the Holte and the Instagram is at VillaPod. The links will be in the link tree in the description of this video. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, leave a review, download, share with your friends, follow, all that. That helps us out as well. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and up the Villa.